AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud certifications. Which path should you go down? I'm going to tell you some opinions. These opinions are gathered by all of the connections that I have on LinkedIn, all the podcasts I listen to, and many people who I've worked with in the past, or people, engineers within my connection circle who I talk to every day. Also, IT recruiters, hiring managers, and many more. These are not statistics off Google. These are just my personal opinions from what I've seen in the market. So let's jump right into it. From what I've seen, AWS certifications have the most study material. They're the most popular. They have the most job opportunities. They have the most job postings. The most amount of companies use AWS for their cloud solutions. AWS also has the highest market share out of the three that we're talking about. So AWS is really the easiest one to get certified in because you have the most resources and the biggest community around it. Once you're certified, it's the easiest one to find a job in because there's so many companies that use it. And because it's so widely used, there's also going to be way more engineers who are also AWS certified applying to the same jobs as you, meaning you're going to have more competition and meaning the supply of AWS engineers is a lot more, so companies have a lot more to pick from, and because of that, the pay isn't as much as the other two at first. Of course, there are still AWS roles that I see that go all the way up to $300K a year, but the average AWS engineer, cloud administrator roles are going to be about $70K to $160K, about that range, and that's going to be your average ballpark roles. Now with Google Cloud is on the other end of the spectrum. They have the least amount of courses online. They have the least study material. It's harder to find the labs and what to study exactly. You have to read through more manuals and documentation rather than going through like videos on YouTube and stuff. There are plenty of Google Cloud courses out there, but nowhere near as much as AWS, making it harder to find the resources to study for your certifications. Google Cloud also has the lowest market share out of the three that we're talking about. There's a lot less clients, corporations, and other companies who are using Google Cloud as their services, which means there's a lot less jobs, there's a lot less demand for it. This also means that there's going to be a lot less engineers in the market who are going after Google Cloud certifications, making those engineers more niche. The few companies that are using Google Cloud as their services are having a harder time finding engineers who have specialized as that skill. Meaning that Google Cloud, you can get paid a lot more. I've seen Google Cloud engineers and architects making up to $400K a year. That's not average. Those are for high, top-notch architects who know every detail of their specialization within the field. The average that you're going to find with Google Cloud certifications and being employed by a Google Cloud role is probably going to be in the ballpark of $80K to $180K, maybe even $200K for the average salary for senior engineers with that role. And that's because there's a lot less competition, companies have less to pick from, so it's become more niche. Azure, Microsoft, is the sweet spot in between the two. So AWS is on one end of the spectrum, easy to get the certifications, huge community, easy to find all the resources you need, tons of job opportunities, and the jobs pay really good. On the other end, Google Cloud, way less opportunities, way less study material, but way less competition, and the niche specialization gives it a higher pay grade. And in the middle, you've got Microsoft Azure, which is a kind of a bit of both. It's got the second highest market share, it's got a lot more companies using it than Google Cloud, but still not as much as AWS. There's still a lot of study material on Microsoft Azure. You should have no problems passing certifications because there's plenty of resources out there. It's not as niche and you can still get a job paying a lot. Currently, I'm an Azure DevOps engineer making $120K a year. And I've only been in IT for about 4 years. So I'm still on the junior end. Once you get into the intermediate section, and then on top of that, the senior section, you can see yourself making anywhere from 100K all the way up to 300K. So that's all I wanted to talk about, just a glaze over of the different cloud providers and which certification path you should go for. And before we end this video, I want to recommend something to you. Before you pick, another thing that you can do, if you have the time and if you have the money and the focus, you should get certified with AZ900, which is the Azure Fundamentals. You should get certified with the AWS Cloud Practitioner, which is like the fundamentals for AWS. And you should go ahead and get certified with Google Cloud Associate Engineer. And that way, all three of those certifications are the entry-level fundamentals of all the clouds. And it will give you a better big picture idea of what the technologies are all about, what the terminology is like, and maybe from there you'll have a better idea of which path you want to go down. Now, one thing you might notice when you go that route is you'll be a lot more seasoned. It's more of a Neapolitan skill board where, if you get hired for an Azure role, then down the road you can still get hired for AWS roles and Google Cloud roles as long as they're kind of junior level and they can train you up a lot faster. So that might be a desirable thing for employers to see. It also might help you on your skills. That being said, there's a consequence to that where the time you spend learning all three entry-level certifications, you could be spending that time just focusing and specializing on just one and becoming more nichely specialized in that one cloud, which results in you becoming a better engineer with just those technologies. So couple things to ponder. Either way that you go is going to have great rewards. It's going to be great for your professional skill set, your resume, your portfolio. Please leave some comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. What certifications did you get? What certifications are you going for? Which cloud provider do you like the most? What are some of the pros and cons of each provider? So that's all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.